Okay, I just sent it to everybody.
Hey, Angela.
Hey, and almost.
Did you send it to everyone else?
Yes.
Okay, I copied and pasted what you sent me.
Okay. All right, I was gonna send it through the text message as well, but and I'm sitting here waiting. And I have link. I'll wait for everybody to pop on. I was like, where everybody
And I sent an email to everyone saying, hey, did y'all get it? If y'all haven't, send it to me. And they said, no, we're doing the same thing.
All right, so hopefully they'll pop on in just a minute.
Hey.
There you go. All right.
All right. We have 3 total people.
Yes.
Yeah, I think everybody else probably is,
They're gonna-
hopefully.
All right.
Join.
Thank you for sending that, Angela.
I didn't know. Simone just told me. I thought I'm still waiting for people. Like, where?
All right. Well, that's good. I need to go grab my glasses anyway.
Okay.
Be back.
Oh, somebody added to the,
I just did. I did that. That's what I was
added all of that?
Yeah, I was just waiting. And then I was like, okay, so let me just go ahead and put some stuff in so we can talk about, take it out if we don't need it, add to it or whatever. It gave me-
Wait, is this your screen I'm seeing?
I know you sent the link, right? I think you sent the link for the presentation.
Right.
Angela.
She did that.
It's a,
You did.
I sent it. Yeah, I did send it.
Okay. Was that yesterday? I'm sorry. I'm going through all of our email threads here to find it.
Yesterday. Yes, because I created it yesterday. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it?
No, I have several from you yesterday, so I'm looking.
I'll share it again.
Oh, that'd be easier. Appreciate it.
Ooh.
No, sounds like someone came rolling in there.
All right, here you go.
Thank you. Yeah, buddy. Thank you.
Everybody good? Keisha. Hey, Keisha. Hey.
Hey, y'all.
Hello.
All right, so everybody got the shared presentation. Do I need to resend it?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Yes, I have it.
So I am recording because my screen is like shared. Y'all see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I am sharing. What am I sharing? Am I sharing the presentation with you guys? Is it shared on the screen, or am I sharing something else?
I can't hear you, Angela.
Someone's touching their microphone a lot.
I said, what am I sharing with you guys? What do you see on the screen?
I see your slide, your case study 3 slideshow.
Okay, because I thought it was, cause I have 2 monitors. I thought it was the other monitor. Okay, good. All right, we cool. So we're talking about we are normal too. So I was talking to this is gonna be an
Angela, I can't hear you. I
We
don't know if
might
it's
have
just,
to everybody mute.
Who was that with the truck sound? I'm gonna put the camera closer to me. Hopefully that'll work. I can't promise you that. I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, so I'm just putting the
yeah. I was trying to mute like Matt said, just to see if that would make the Make it a little bit clearer.
Or we might want to turn our volumes down so it doesn't reverberate back into the microphone. That usually helps too.
I'm rigging up some stuff here, y'all.
I'm just gonna turn my volume down there.
I'm just trying to rig up something. Hopefully it'll work. I don't know.
Mic check. How's that sound? Does it sound clear when I talk?
Yeah, sound pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So my volume's at the right level. Good.
All right, so like I was saying, this is probably a very interesting, I'm sure it's very interesting presentation that we're gonna do today. We are all normal. So we're gonna just start with the first question. Well, this one is not really talking about that so much, but it's kind of, I didn't see any bullying in the story, so I really didn't see any like face-to-face contact bullying. I heard when I was reading the case study, it was a whole lot of talking, but not talking directly to Willie and Jimmy, I guess that's who it is. So, okay, so they didn't complain about being bullied or anything because they just coming out. But we'll look at the question, cite how you would address or minimize bullying and cyberbullying. So I just put a couple things down there, well, quite a bit, but we could erase it, we can do whatever. It just was some brainstorming I was doing just coming out. And looking at the book as well. There's some stuff in the book and what we already know. So what do you guys think about how can we minimize bullying in the school, and how can we minimize cyberbullying? Because a lot of times we don't know anything about that because that's at home.
I agree with what you have here, Angela, because that's kind of what, as I was thinking about my reflection, I think it's going to be, there's probably supposed to be a policy already in place. So you just have to reinforce that policy. And I guess in this situation, if the students were to report bullying, because I agree with you again, that wasn't in the case study, but if they were to report it, then maybe there needs to be like some kind of emphasis on it, like maybe a school-wide assembly to reinforce it and remind students of the policy. But I would imagine there's already a policy in place. Like you said, the teachers would be responsible for enforcing it.
Right.
I agree 100%. It should already be in place. You're absolutely right. And like you said, my thoughts were the same as everybody else. Address it at the beginning of the year. Address it at the beginning of each semester.
Right. And if you got PBIS, MTSS, something like that, some kind of positive behavior or dealing with things that interrupt academics, it's supposed to be school-wide anyway, right?
Right.
I would imagine that the school would reinforce it every day because it should be a part of your lesson. PBIS is usually a part of the lesson. Something with the do now or something.
I agree as well. And also getting the media specialists involved, because I know they also do the acceptable use policy every year, and that comes from the media specialist, but also getting her to expand upon that. At the elementary level, I can say, because I know most of you all are secondary.
I know a lot, at least at my school, a lot of the cyberbullying happens off campus. And so it's like the kids coming back the next day with their cell phone, or parents have emailed, with the screenshot saying, hey, so-and-so is bullying my student. So then that's a little bit different because it's not even happening on campus.
This is acceptable internet. What was the name of it? I give it to them every year.
Acceptable use policy.
Use policy. All right. All right. So I'm good with that. You guys good with that? All right. So we're getting into, we are normal too. Would you consider the principal's or Mary Lou's comment as a veiled threat when she, and I have to go back to what she said. When she, well, basically, I know everybody read it, but she was saying that wait till the end of the year, wait till you finish, and after you graduate, resume your relationship. And then she also said in the same sentence, pretty much, that that the parents need to talk to them because it wasn't safe for them, to come out and to be so outward. Because they said that they would not refrain from kissing and holding hands. They said, we're going to do that. So the principal was saying to the parents, you need to talk to your kids because it could become an issue, an unsafe issue.
Yeah.
And
Go
I
ahead.
don't know if anybody else want to jump in, but in my opinion, I do feel like her comment was a vile threat because she was talking about, them being threatened or some type of violence when they hadn't reported any of that. So I think that was just based on what she was thinking would possibly happen. There was no evidence of that having happened or anything leading up to it. So that's just my opinion.
I see it differently. I don't see it as a veiled threat. I see it as trying to inform the parents that this could happen from either her previous experience or just knowing from what's happened in the past at other schools that these kids could be in danger if they basically show up. Someone may threaten them or may actually hurt them. I think that so I didn't see it as a veiled threat. I saw her as informing the parents. But I could see how, as the parents who are already heated about this, can see it as a veiled threat as well. So,
but then, go ahead.
I agree with Samanja because if she just would have stuck with her initial statement, I don't think it would have been a threat. But to me, it was a little in disguise because she wanted them to end their relationship until they graduated. What if they were freshmen?
And I feel like she was making that comment to maybe put some fear in them so that would, I guess, encourage them to think about, okay, maybe we need to stop and we don't need to show this affection.
But they're seniors because they're, she was saying to mention graduation, they're seniors and they're going to they want to go to the prom. So we know they're upperclassmen. But right after they said that, she got the phone calls and the emails and from Jerry and Cindy saying, that they were faggots and they did it in a harsh way. They said we got 100 petitions. People, it says an abomination. So I would have thought they were not going to be safe too. If I was a principal, I would have thought these kids might not be safe. These religious fanatics, because it says it's a mockery, So I'm thinking.
But she didn't get those phone calls and emails until after she made that comment. So I don't know, maybe leading up to it, she had already gotten some and they just didn't tell us that part.
Right.
She made that comment before.
I agree with Samanja. Her response was very politically correct, and it was a safe response that could be twisted either way. But it was a veiled threat because it was hidden under the guise of protection of the students, because there was no evidence that the relationship would put them in any danger at the present moment, because all that was posed was a potential boycott, which is not technically a dangerous situation. So yeah, I do consider it to be a veiled threat.
But I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. If I walk down in the hood wearing red when I should be wearing blue, no one's actually done anything to me. Should I be able to assume that I'm wearing the wrong colors?
I think that's a completely different.
Yeah, so I should be able to assume that there's a possibility I could be injured because of what's happened in the past. I mean, so I still don't see it as a veiled threat. You guys do, that's fine. I just don't, and I can see both sides of the story. But I think that she was protecting her students there.
So a veiled threat would be more like coming out bad, threatening you, but kind of like saying it undercover.
Yeah,
it's in disguise.
It's in disguise.
Okay. So, I'm like Matt. I can see it both ways. I really can. As a principal, and if I'll be personal, I would say that for the sake, my whole thing, her first initial statement is for the safety of the students. She could have said that a little bit differently than that. I probably wouldn't have said it like she said it, but for the safety of the children and just to make sure that they were aware of possibilities, I wouldn't have said it in front of the kids. I would have talked to the parents and say, I'm really concerned right now. In the past, this is what has happened. And I probably wouldn't talk with them alone. I probably would make it an issue where I had someone else with me also. Just to reinforce policy. We might have to have a meeting with some other administrators. I don't know. But that's a serious issue right there. You don't want to discriminate against people.
Yeah.
right, so do we want to move on to the next question?
Please.
All right, so
Wait, I'm reading back over what you have, Angela.
right, because we want to put your voice in there too, because that's just honestly what I put is more of like what me and Matt was saying, because I didn't think it was correct. So somebody else go in and put in, how you feel about that. Okay.
I just want to clarify a point. Mary Lou talked to the boys after she received the threatening phone calls from Jerry and Cindy where they were calling faggots and stuff. Then she addressed it with the boys again.
Got the message first.
It's a concern that she's gotten that, I don't know, that's a tough one. This is a tough case that I've been thinking about it for a week and a half now.
I told you.
It's a tough one.
Interesting. But it's real.
Somebody help me with the wording. I'm trying
to log on.
Do you need me to send it to you?
No, I have it.
Okay. Mary Lou's comment could be considered.
Considering there was no evidence brought to her that insinuating there would be violence towards the boys. Only a boycott is what we were made aware of, just based on the text, not going beyond that.
She probably felt like, and that she was stopping something before it would start, especially receiving information prior to talking to them. Let me go ahead and throw that out there so they'll know.
What? I didn't hear what you said, Angela.
I said she probably tried to, she was probably pressure. I'm gonna stop it before it starts. Like our last case study, the principal was influenced by.
I don't know if anybody.
You muted yourself.
Yeah, I'm muting myself because I'm struggling to hear you.
Okay, I don't know why, but I think what she was doing was trying to stop something before it started in her head. She processed the information as a principal, and she said maybe this would be, I can look at it, in both ways. Personally,
I agree with you on that. That's probably what she was doing, but I just think professionally, and I don't know, I don't think she should have said that out loud, because now you got these parents that can say, hey, she's thinking about something that no one's ever said anything. How does she know that there's going to be danger brought on our boys?
all right, we good with that one? Now,
this whole case study is tough. I was hoping you guys would have the answer for me.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
a little easier for me.
there's no black and white answer. I'm gonna tell you that.
Yeah.
Not.
Well, you can't make everybody happy, but you got to do what's right by the law first, foremost, if you want to keep your job.
Stick with the law. What are Mary Lou's responsibilities under the law? Good question.
Keep students safe, number one.
Mm-hmm.
You can try to give them their First Amendment or let them keep their First Amendment rights, but if it's, as it states in the book here, under Tinker versus Des Moines, conduct by the student in class or out of it, which for any reason, whether it stems from time, place, or type of behavior, materially disrupts classwork or involves substantial disorder. There's the case. Involves substantial disorder.
Right. The
invasions of the rights of others is not protected.
Right.
So I believe this falls underneath that it involves substantial disorder, looking at the parents who are rallying around the prom and boycotting the prom. Boycotting the prom is not the problem, but so what? Don't go to the prom. That's fine. There'll be however many students, fewer that are going to the prom. But if it's going to put students in danger because of it, then I'm saying I don't know. I'm lost. I'm lost, guys.
So I'm gonna jump in again because I don't think that this, from what we've been given in the case study, I don't feel like this is disrupting the educational process.
Not yet.
True.
Yeah, not yet. if they want to, like you said, if they want to boycott the prom, don't go to the prom. They have that right. But boycotting the prom is that's not violence. So nobody's threatening to bring about any violence. So that would the boys can still go to the prom as a couple unless there's something in place that says only a male and female can go, which I doubt that's lawful.
Right.
But going back to the statement that you read from the textbook, I don't feel like it's disrupting the educational process.
And that's what I said. It doesn't disrupt the process, but it does. I think it involves substantial disorder. I think it could involve
of the prom or of everything.
Just everything involved with leading up to the prom, the parents, the boycotting, and the threatening emails. I think that's a lot of disorder. I mean, sitting from a principal's position, God, this is tough. I'm trying to speak out on it, but I just don't know. I really don't know the solution to this.
I went a bit further into this case study beyond her decision, especially with the initial what to let them do. I also had an issue with her stance on having them wait for their events that they wanted to have. I found on page 140, students' freedom of assembly rights are protected by the First Amendment. However, the Tinker decision made it clear that students' First Amendment rights are protected only so long as they do not substantially disrupt the education process. And the two young men wanted to hold an assembly about LGBTQ rights and civil rights, and she didn't really seem in favor of that. So I thought that could potentially be an issue. And I wrote, an activity involving students' rights to freedom of expression cannot be banned because it conflicts with the personal views of school officials. That was also in the book. And she's kind of trying to sway them not to even educate their peers on that. And we are in the age of litigation and lawsuits. And I've been made aware of 3 that happened at my school just this week. So she needs to be leery of what's personal and what's actually going to cause a conflict at the school. That's just my thing.
I agree with
And
you.
when it comes to them attending the prom, as long as they're not making any physical gestures, there should not be an issue with it.
I agree.
Right.
I had an issue at school where some students wanted to create a Christian club. And my mentor was saying to me, and this has been about 2 years ago, my mentor was saying to me that it's fine, but a student cannot create a club on their own. And they're saying, we want to educate others. Who makes them the expert on being bisexual or whatever? So you would have to have a facilitator that is a school staff. It can't even be an outside person. And she gave me all the policies and stuff because they wanted me to head the club and they wanted me to give them information. She said, I wasn't even allowed to give them information, but I was allowed to make sure that they did everything that was in a line and appropriate with school policy. So she should have those conversations with them, not deny them, but have those conversations with them. But one of the other things is going to open up a can of worms, because if you say, yes, we can have this club, everybody that want to create a club is going to try to create a club, and you're going to have some different types of things going on in the school. Because if Christians can create a club, Satan worshipers can create a club too. You can't stop them. That's their religion. So you want to make sure that you're following policy, and you want to make sure that you're having conversations with other people as well in the school system. You know, don't make that decision by yourself, because you're going to have to live with it in your school.
I think one thing she could have done is when they mentioned wanting to have a club, you know, she could listen to them and tell them, you know, it may not be something that's going to happen this year. It may not happen in a month or so, but I do feel like she would need to probably talk to someone at the district office to, you know, get an idea of, hey, if we're going to start this club, we got to open it up to other clubs, like you said, Angela, because then everybody's going to want a club, which is fine. But there have to be some rules as to what the clubs include or what's involved in the clubs.
Right. Just
I do feel like Keisha said, when she said no to it, I think that was just her personal decision.
Right. And we can't put our personal feelings in there. And there is a part in here that really sticks out. And it says that basically it said, fearful that some groups would carry out their threats and wishing to avoid negative publicity. That lets you know that, you know what I'm saying? She's trying to, I don't want nobody to be looking at me some type of way for doing this. No, you're a principal and you have to follow policy.
Right.
You know, so you got to look at it that way too. Let's hope we never had to deal with this, but there you go. Probably. All right, so the next question is how
We didn't put any, I'm just saying, we didn't put any of that on the slide that we just talked about.
so I'm not even looking at it. So go ahead. You want to put some? Go ahead.
I know, but it was a lot, so somebody help me out, or somebody else type.
Okay, Keisha, what did you say? What was your response? I wanted to put that down here.
Regarding the event the young men wanted to have.
Yes.
It was from page 140.
Okay.
The students' freedom of assembly rights are protected by the First Amendment. However, the Tinker decision made it clear that students' First Amendment rights are protected only so long as they do not substantially disrupt the education process. Schools are well within the scope of their authority to adopt rules that restrict student gatherings to non-disruptive times and behaviors. And I referenced that to how she kind of wanted to push back their clubs or their events regarding educating the rest of the student body on civil rights and LGBTQ. So she technically made herself safe with her comment about having them do it at a later time, because she probably could justify that it would be disruptive to the school. But then the same page also stated that an activity involving students' rights to freedom cannot be banned because it conflicts with personal views. But she kind of covers herself still, I think, in a veil when she makes statements, because she probably could have a point to where a club of this nature or an event of this nature could be disruptive. So it's that political correctness that covers administrators. So it's hard to prove that it's a personal thing.
The LGBTQ, my husband, they actually have a program in place to make sure that they are treated fairly. So maybe she should have said, okay, maybe we can't do your club this year, but however, we're going to implement this program to make sure that anybody with a how you want to say it, anybody that has a gender difference, let's say that, they're going to be protected under this program and this law too. So she should put the program in place. Then you won't have to worry about it. Let her do it. You do it, principal. I think it should have been in place already anyway. I think all schools is out. This is a part of what we have to face anyway. So I think all schools should go ahead and have something in place just in case. Make all the students safe, point blank.
And it might be, depending on the district. I'm still looking at the school board policy for Warren County. I have not seen anything specifically. I know there are anti-discrimination policies, which would include everybody, but they don't specifically say LGBTQ.
Same for me, Keisha. I haven't found it for my district either.
They're kind of vague about who's not to be discriminated against.
Right.
And of course,
in the chapter talks about the similar thing to, usually it means things about like students wearing controversial outfits or saying controversial things or having symbols of racism. But there are anti-discrimination policies within the school board policy, but nothing specifically protecting LGBTQ. I see a lot of things regarding your special populations, but that's about it.
How should Mary Lou respond to concerns of Jerry and Cindy Hudson? And those concerns were, nasty.
Can't hear you, Angela.
Yeah, I heard a truck or something.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a truck. All right, so these two people, they're the ones that had the nasty attitude. Let's see where. Oh, here it is. All right, so right. A few days later, Mary Lou received a phone call from Jimmy and Cindy Hudson, whose son and daughter both attended Red Creek. They expressed quite vehemently to Mary Lou that unless she took actions against those targets, they would lead a parent boycott of the school.
You didn't say Jimmy, right? You said Jimmy, right?
Yeah, Jerry and Cindy, husband and wife. The daughter and son are upset because of these people in their school, so they call them names. So, in response to that, what do you say about that?
I agree with your response that it should be based on school policy. It's unacceptable for them to call a school and, speak that way, especially about students.
And let's have a parent night. Come on out here so we can tell you things that you need to know, so that you wouldn't look at them in that way. Look at them as people, not as whatever they look at them as, whatever. But I think the parents need to be taught.
They need to come in, have a conversation with all administration and some of the teachers.
It is not that you have to accept it, but you do have to treat everybody with respect.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if it's just me with the wording. Did their students attend in the past, or do they still attend now?
I don't know.
How's it working for you?
I'll be right back.
It says so I don't know, that may be the past.
That's what I'm thinking, that they're just parents that are still involved in the school, but their kids don't even go there anymore.
Their kids are probably
parents that can never leave. Yeah.
Right. All right, do we want to add anything to Angela's response, or is that good?
I haven't read the response, but I did want to throw something else in here. I'm reading that, Jerry, and by the way, thanks to Mondra for fixing that again. Jerry and Cindy, what's it say? They're going to boycott. They already collected over 100 signatures, condemning it. Students have begun to collect their own petitions. It's easy to say, well, you know what, just don't show up. The problem, but I don't know. How's prom get paid for? You got to pay for it up front, and then you collect money from the tickets, right? So it can put a lot of pressure on the school if you're expecting that you're going to have 400 students at prom and only 25 show up. It's just something to consider.
That's true.
So, consideration of the amount of students that attend prom. That's what.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if that's something we need to write in there. It's just something I wanted to throw out there for us to think about. That it's easy for us to sit here and go, yeah, well, just don't show up. But now when you really think of the impact of all those students deciding not to go, you may not have a problem anyway. Or you may have already paid for the venue and the decorations and everything that's involved with prom. I don't know everything that's involved, so I try to avoid that. But and then you're out because we weren't able to recoup the money from prom tickets. Just something for us to think. I don't think it has to go on our slideshow.
I mean, but it's something to think about, because I did get a little bit of that. If you've already taken care of everything concerning prom, I did the prom last year, and it was a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And we started 2 months, early, like you're supposed to. So you bought everything. I mean, we bought stuff, and they sent us things, in the thousands. So you don't want we're gonna figure something out, Jimmy and Jimmy and Willie. We're gonna figure something out, but we're gonna have our prom. So
that's my thought. Like, I would, I'm saying this now, but if I were in the position of the principal, I'd probably plan for a boycott instead of like canceling the prom or telling Willie and Jimmy that they couldn't come. Like Faith said, take that into consideration, but I don't think the thought of losing out on the money or the kids not showing up, and we've spent all of this money, I don't think I would cancel the prom, because now you're canceling it. And what if they were just talking a big talk?
And they don't even show up.
Right.
Right.
So we have students that are gay, they go to the prom and they're there together. And I mean, that's their choice. As long as you're abiding by the same rules as every other student, what really? What can we do? I mean, that's not our place to say. And see, I'm being an ordained minister, and I do have my own, I have my beliefs. That's fine. That can't cross over into administration. I do have my beliefs, and I can't be like Mary Lou and sometime in my own thoughts making decisions. What I have to do is follow policy, and I can't say, well, I believe this is what we believe it at my church. I can't do that either. I have to make sure that they are being treated fairly, that there's equality at school. So yes, come to the prom, but you better understand and get it, Jimmy and Willie. If you break a rule, you're gonna get the consequences just like a straight kid would. Don't blame it on the fact you gay now. I'm gonna make sure that it's in policy. So if you're gonna hold hands and kiss and all that stuff, just like straight kids try to do and they get suspended for it, you will get suspended too. So what I saw was they refused to not show public affection. They were going to do it at school. Did y'all read that, right? They said we will not refrain from showing affection to each other. We will hold hands, and we will. They said that in the case study. So guess what? They probably not going to go to the prom because you're going to be suspended. We fixed it. You're not coming to the prom because you're probably going to be on suspension if you refuse to follow the rules during the regular, So,
well, I'm not secondary, but they can't. Holding hands is considered
right. No holding hands at my high school, at every school.
Okay.
And I've talked. No holding hands, no kissing.
I know about kissing. I know about all of that.
We're allowed to hold hands.
Just holding hands.
They're allowed to hold hands.
No display of public affection. No display of public affection. I mean, you probably go.
It matters like that for you too.
Yeah, you can hold hands in our school.
Okay, I was wondering that.
You cannot kiss at all. You can do a quick hug, and it's kind of like
I knew about the kiss and the hug.
Yeah, they're allowed to hold hands in our school.
But as far as holding hands, I didn't think that was.
They
20 to 100 students. You got to pick your battles.
I'm about 30 minutes from Angela, and this is a weird part of North Carolina, and it's the same. They can't even hold hands.
Okay.
I got in trouble for having a halter top on in my personal Google page. Somebody found it.
What?
I had to take the picture down because I had cleavage on. It's a halter top. It was from last summer. So someone found that it's that deep here.
Y'all come on down. Come on down.
So nothing, no holding hands. That is a policy here in Warren County.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, quite honestly, I think it would be easier if it were black and white like that, because you are in a professional environment. That's hence the reason no PDA anyway. So I mean, I would welcome that no holding hands and just make it black and white. Because we have enough stuff in the gray area. Black and white makes it easier.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. So. Would you allow them to go to the prom? I would. As a couple, that's your thing. That's your thing.
But just as long as there's no physical gestures, then
right.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. Like Matt said, you have to choose your battles. You be fighting all day. You will be fighting all day, and you will be exhausted when you get home. And if we focus on this, do we have time for instructional things? Do we have time for the meat of education if we're just going to focus on our personal opinions about certain things, or however you want to look at it? But I wouldn't take a molehill and build a mountain. I just would not do it. I wouldn't give it that much energy. Got too much going on in my life. Make it work. But if everybody's satisfied, we are done.
Yep, we're good.
And I just want to drop this little morsel of goodness in your ear. The first task for the skip is very easy. He said it was. It is.
Did you already finish it, Angela?
Pretty much. I can't finish. I have to do the survey and compare it with the TWC. So pretty much, yeah. I just got to do the survey. I'm gonna do Survey Monkey, send it out. I already got my approval from my principal. I did it over the weekend, and he sent it to me yesterday. So I am going to do the survey tomorrow, send it out, give it to Wednesday, see what people got to say, and I'm bye. Because I'm not going to get caught up in the summer with a incomplete. That's what he talked about on the video. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. We're gonna get this done and we out. We're done. But yeah, it is not hard. When I say it, it is not hard at all. This is gonna you're gonna go through this and get you a nap. You like that, Matt?
Uh-huh.
You're gonna go through this and take a nap. Really. I did it last night. I was like, okay, cool. Thank you. Not that hard.
Cool.
All right, so
You want to share what you've got just to let us see where you are on that?
all right, can you see that right there? All right, Simone, do you see where up here at the top where it has the Grammarly I was telling you about?
I can't really see your screen. It's really tiny.
Pretty small.
Is it real small? Hold on. Oh.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right, so at the top of the screen, it has Grammarly, and I was talking to Simone about that. I just get that information.
Oh, you want to stop recording?
Yeah, let's do that.